The next thing that we're going to talk about in logic is called a switch. A switch is a concept similar to if else, but it's an actual extension, or it actually does a little bit more. And you can look at the syntax and you can kind of get a understanding of what's happening. I hope if I've done these PowerPoints correctly, you kind of get a sense of what's happening. So switch on value. So what we're saying is we're going to switch on a value. And how are we going to switch? Well, case the value is something, do this. In other words, if the value is this, do this. If the value is something, do that. Or if the value, or if we don't, the default is if neither one of those are the values, we can say do something completely different, right? So the switch statement gives us the ability to not only just do if else, it gives us the ability to say if this, or if this, or if this, or if this, or if this. And it's a kind of a neat way to be able to string together some comparison and some logic. All right, so let's take a look at what that would look like in code. Now, we're not going to use our hello world scenario for this. We're actually going to write out a switch statement alone. So let's go ahead and delete this. I just commented out. I don't want to go through how to, well, yeah, I will. If you notice, I commented out. The way to comment code out so that it doesn't run is if you highlight the code, and up here, you should see these buttons here. One of them is to comment out. The other is to comment back in. So if we click on the comment back out, we can comment this code out, or we can just delete it. So we can just highlight it and delete it. I think that's the easier way. So let's just do that. And so now let's write ourselves a switch statement. The first thing we need, though, is we need to set up something for it to switch on. So what we're going to do is we're going to switch on an integer. We're going to say int value equals 10. And then that's it. And then after that, we're going to say switch. Now, you'll notice once again, my switch is not capitalized. It's lowercase, so don't worry if don't try and do uppercase S, it's lowercase. And we give it parentheses. This is where our value goes. We pass in a value and we're passing in value here. So this is where our value goes. And then we give it a body. When I say give it a body, what I'm talking about is the curly brackets. The curly brackets are our body. So everything inside of the brackets is now part of our switch statement. So how do we write our switch statement? Well, remember, there's a case statement. So we say case, and again, lowercase. Case is lowercase. It's a little bit confusing, but follow me if you can. And so we're going to say case, the value is 1. And this is the key part. Instead of doing a semicolon, we actually do a full colon on our case statement. We say case 1, then do something. And we're going to, something we're going to do is we're going to write out console.writeLine, and we're just going to write out the number, not the number, the word 1. Okay. Now you'll notice that our Visual Studio is angry again. The reason it's angry is in order to do case and finish out the body of the case, we have to add 1 line of code extra. And the extra line of code is the break keyword and then a semicolon. What that does is it says, okay, once I run this code, break, exit the switch statement. So we'll go through and we'll say, oh, if it's 1, then do this and then break. We're done. We're not going to execute any more code. And the reason you have to do that is because we're going to say after this case, we're going to do another case, and we're going to say 5 full colon, and we're going to do console dot write line, and we're going to say the number 5. And once again, Visual Studio is angry because we need break. And so what you'll see is, and notice is, if this ran and we didn't have break and it allowed it, we would fall down into here and it would run all of these pieces of code and everything, and we don't want that. So the break keyword breaks out of that. And so we say case is 10 and console write line and the number or the word 10. And then remember, we have a default. We have default. And the way you write out default is just the word default. We don't have to give it a value or anything. We just say full colon and, oh, we're missing a break. See, break is necessary as well as a semicolon after 10. So now our default, and we'll say console write line, no number, and we'll break on this one as well. And that is our switch statement. Now we've supplied the value 10. So let's see what we get when we run it. We got the word 10. If we switch this to 5, we should get the word 5. Not sure why it keeps throwing an error. One second, it is, there we go, 5, and we got the word 5. So if I put in 15, I put in 15, and we ran it, I get no number, no number. And that is consistent with what we've wired up or written in our switch statement.